Hi guys, Shaun Simpson, and today we're going to get back to your Q&A questions that you guys had. We sent out a little question on Instagram, and today we're going to get back to a few of them, just to give you some answers and insight into what we're up to at this point and any questions that you guys had on anything. So here we go. First one is, what's your height and weight? Well, I weigh 80 kilograms and I am 180 centimeters tall. So when I was on the 250 MX2 class, I weighed around 76, 77 kilograms, but now I hover anywhere between 78 and 80. Given these current times, I'm closer to the 80, but yeah, that's my height and weight. Second one is, what made you start your own team? Well, combination of factors really, because the last few years just haven't been 100% confident with my bike, with the setup, and with the amount of people that I know in the motocross industry, I just really felt like I could have a crack at it on my own. And, I've been doing this long enough now to know how my bike needs to be set up and, just people to give me a hand, the right people behind me, keep my circle nice and small. So those were the main factors behind it, but we didn't take that decision lightly. It was obviously a big decision to take, and one that so far in 2020 has been a great decision. What kind of things are you doing during the corona crisis? Well, at the moment we've just been trying to stay safe. That's the number one goal for us at the moment, but been hanging out with my little boy Angus, my wife Rachel, been going on family walks. We bought a slide and some things for Angus to play out in the garden with, which has been pretty cool. Rachel's been getting me to do a few chores in the house and outside, so just basically trying to keep ourselves busy, sane, but also working on my physical condition as well, just trying to stay in shape and yeah, ready for when we can get back on track. What's your favourite track and why? One of my favourite tracks in the world has to be Unadilla in America. So when I went over there in 2015, we done a US national, and I just really liked the way the Americans worked the track, the way the soil was prepared, the jumps, the layout, and everything just fitted well for me that weekend. So has to be one of my favourite tracks to ride. So the next one's going to be, what is the biggest stress on race day? Well, I'd say that's a great question, because there's so many factors that can come into stress on a race weekend. Preparation is everything for me. Goggles, helmet, everything all dialed in, make sure your bike's all ready to go, set up for the conditions. Then when it actually comes to race day, you should be pretty relaxed, but there's always a spanner to be thrown in the mix somewhere, whether you're really struggling with a track, or you've got fans or people wanting tickets. So I just try to be as prepared as I can and, sort of expect the worst, hope for the best type of thing. And, normally there's no real big spanners that come into the works, but if you can get over them little things and you know that your main things like your goggles, bike, all of that stuff's all set, ready to go, then most of the time when the gate drops, you're good to go. And sometimes the stress can even sort of take your mind away from the race, and it's quite often a bad problem to focus too much on the race and really think too much about things. So sometimes when you just get to the race, set up, get ready, and just nail it, that's the way to go. So here's the next question. It's going to be, is it more rewarding riding for your own team now, knowing what's going on behind the scenes? Well, I'd say 100%. So I know how much work it takes to get us to the race weekends, and it's obviously more rewarding when we get a good result, because, it's been a lot of hard graft to get us there. So from my wife sacrificing things, carrying Angus around in the camper, being in the workshop late in the evening, my mum, my dad, everyone's mucking in. So we're just really a family effort to make sure that we're ready to go at the weekend, and to be mixing it with all these GP teams that have, numbers of people working for them. It's, really quite satisfying to be able to just come with a van and a small setup and do, the same sort of work as them and mix it with them week in, week out. So yeah, it's definitely more rewarding in that sense. Favorite racing moment? That one for me has to be Leerop 2013, because it was just such a majestic weekend for myself. First ever Grand Prix overall win. It was the last MX1 World Championship event as well, before things changed to MXGP. Pulled the bike out of a camper, rode all weekend, at the front of the field, and came away with a first and a third for the overall GP win. So beat the likes of Carole and Strybos and guys like that. It was an amazing weekend for me, and just one that I'll never forget. Do you like the 6D helmet? In my career, the 6D helmet has always been one that I've looked towards. I've worn some really quality helmets in my career, and also a couple of helmets that haven't been that great either. So I feel like I can judge on how a helmet is to wear, safety-wise and also aesthetically, comfort and things like that. And for me, the 6D definitely sits at the top of the list. From the moment I pulled it on, just the comfort was, you know, better than anything that I'd felt before, and also the way it looks and the technology and design behind the whole 6D. It's just definitely definitely the best out there. So really happy to be with these guys, and just thanks to them for giving me the opportunity to be out there supporting their brand and doing my thing. Has Angus influenced you on your approach to races? I would say that's quite an interesting question, because obviously, you know, as you grow up, you've got yourself to worry about, then you may get a girlfriend, wife, you know, you're still just focused on yourself. When you've got a child and you become a dad, things do change. You know, there is another priority in your life, and I think that's really important to become a good role model for Angus. And I would say that things have, you know, started going that way. I really want to do things for myself, my family, and, you know, I want him to be grown up and, you know, proud of his dad. So I remember growing up watching my dad, and you know, I wasn't always happy with the way he rode, or you know, sometimes we went through tough weekends, but overall I just really looked up to him and how hard he worked at things, and you know, that's a good thing to teach your kids. So hopefully he can grow up and really enjoy himself in these environment, and we'll see. If he wants to ride a bike, then great, but if he wants to take the golf clubs or a tennis racket, then that would be pretty cool too. How hard was it to ride at Hoxton Park International? Because I think you rode world class. Yeah, Hoxton was tough this year. The organisers done a fantastic job making sure there was an event, because given the weather and the circumstances leading up to the race, it was, you know, pretty hit or miss whether they'd have a meeting, and it turned out to be great. You know, there was a great crowd there, the racing went ahead. Unfortunately, it was a bit tough conditions, but, you know, I excel in those conditions, and you know, it's just about being prepared, making sure the bike's going to finish the race, making sure your goggles are right, making an absolute fantastic job of your start, and making no mistakes. And I pretty much nailed all of those, and we had a great weekend. So that was cool. So does Shaun have any other mechanics other than his dad? No, at the moment, my dad is my only mechanic. So I'm also spinning the spanners myself. My dad mainly focuses on the suspension and the engine, and we build the race bikes together. So I do a lot of the plastics, the stickering, and changing the tires, making sure everything's looking fancy, and my dad makes sure that everything's technically okay. So I'm just there making sure that, you know, the sponsors are still happy, all the logos are in the right place. The guys from Enjoy, they really make sure that the stickers on the bike look good every weekend. And all my other technical partners, you know, we've got enough material to make the bikes look good. And so we can go and make ourselves, you know, well presented within the paddock. How much longer do you aim to be an MXGP for? Probably another 2 to 3 years. I'd like to see myself being an MXGP for that amount of time. There's a few factors that will come into it. Obviously, running my own team at the moment, it's quite a busy schedule trying to get everything fitted in and around, you know, with my family there. My dad is a mechanic. I'm trying to run things behind the show as well. So it's all depends on whether the drive and determination's there in 2 to 3 years time. But at the moment, the way things are going, the way I feel on the bike at the weekends, I don't see why I couldn't be an MXGP for another 2 or 3 seasons. So one more question I have is, do you have any future plans to sign another rider in MXGP or MX2? Well, I think that's a question that I'm going to have to just roll with. At the moment, I need to make sure that this is all about me. So all the sponsors that I've got on board, we're all going for one goal, and that's to make Shaun Simpson as ready as possible to race MXGP, to try and win the British Championship and to be top 10 in the world. and we can't minimize that goal by having another rider in the setup at the moment. So at the moment, 2020 is all about myself. Then if that goes well and there's, you know, more sponsors come on board, or the budget allows things to maybe open up for a second rider, I'd love to work with another rider in the team. Maybe not someone at MXGP level to begin with, because, you know, that would be a direct competition within my own team. A younger guy, maybe someone in MX2 or a European Championship guy. That would be pretty cool to sort of start, you know, teaching him my little secrets, and trying to bring, you know, a guy that's up and coming, you know, into the top 10 of the European Championship, top 10 of the MX2 World Championship. That would be something that I'd really sort of relish, and, you know, definitely could be something to do in the future. But until that happens, then it's all about me in 2020. So I think that's pretty much it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed a little insight into some of those questions, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, make sure you ring the bell, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks again.